Alrighty, we are back in our cozy studios, escaped Florida, all in one piece, and we've got a couple of good things to break down for you today. This is episode Dirty 30 of No Putts Given, and guys, let's get it.
No Putts Given is powered by MyGolfSpy, the most extensive reviews in golf. Before you buy, MyGolfSpy. 9 million readers do it every year. Check us out.
Why are your faces like that? I shouldn't say Dirty 30. Is that
You
bad?
can say whatever you want.
I like it.
Okay. So this week back in studio, we have a very weary Harry Nodwell. Can you see it in his eyes? Look how tired he is. They're barely open.
If golfers only knew the dedication that he is putting in right now.
You're welcome, guys. I've earned this beer right here. And it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Good for you. We've also got Tony Covey back with us this week. Tony, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm getting there. I'm back.
Okay.
Ish.
Good enough that you can chat with us for a little bit?
But why the hell not? What else am I going to do?
Okay. It's good for the soul. Maybe you'll feel better.
Sure. Let's go with it.
And of course, owner and founder of MyGolfSpy, Adam Beach to my right, and I'm Miranda Mason, your host. So guys, let's start. Harry, I know you're tired, but can you give us a facility update? What's going on?
We're motoring the way through this driver test. Hopefully getting everything, most of the majority of tests is done by the end of next week. If not, it will be the 14th of February where everyone's going to be complete. So
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, right. So we're getting everyone through. There's some trends that I've been seeing whilst looking at data of my 371 hours at looking at screens.
I was going to say, can you explain maybe the setup in the facility and exactly how many testers you get through and how quickly, and that you're the main man running around making sure
I mean, we have 35 to 37 testers, I think. We have a couple of buffers just in case dropouts.
Don't tell them who they are; they'll feel bad.
Yeah.
Steve.
So we do that, and they have there's 9 sessions. So do the math, and it comes out to be 371 hours, I think, of what I've done today for Tony's lovely email. For some stupid reason.
No one's counting, but okay.
But I am.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so we're getting through that, and I've seen some interesting trends. Again, last year we saw a lot of lower spinning drivers on the market with the shaft and head combo, and again, it's the same this year. And some guys are low spin guys already, but when it comes to, I'm trying to put the CG back and get everything to spin up, and they're still spinning it low. So it's still going a long way, but it's pitching 210 and rolling out to 250. The windows that were on Foresight and TrackMans are no longer the optimal window from what I'm seeing from the last 2 years.
Yeah, so the low spin thing seems to be a new normal, right, Tony? Like, I mean, that's just a trend that's tough to, you try to fit people into windows, right, of spin and launch and all these things, but the way they're designing drivers now is different, and there's not much you can do about it.
It's pretty wild when you think, like, when we first started doing driver testing, the challenge was try and get that spin number down. Like that was the number we were fighting most. You'd have guys that you couldn't get below 3,000 RPM with a stock driver setup. And now we're starting to see kind of a little bit of shift where you have guys that, especially like Harry mentioned, lower spinning guys to begin with, where it's a struggle to get these guys above 2,000. It's hard to get guys in that window now with these drivers being so low spin.
Yeah, and let's remind people too, like a lot of people still don't understand how we go about doing our driver testing. We get questions a lot. We are in the facility all the time and talking data all the time, so we know, but we test the way the majority of golfers buy. That means you walk into a store, you're going to have the available options that club manufacturer offers for shaft options, shaft flex, head loft, and everything.
And that's not including some manufacturers will give the whole range of their stock option shafts.
We try to test all those. We try to test all those. But that being said, we take each individual golfer, and these aren't just random people coming in and swinging, ladies flex or super stiff. We're fitting each golfer the best we can into a window, right? And that's what he's talking about. The problem is that even when you try to fit them in these windows, sometimes driver nowadays are lower spinning than you actually want. And that's just a trend we're seeing. But that being said, what are some good things and bad things that you're hearing from the testers, from golfers, and things that you've seen?
I've had mixed reviews on Tony's favorite club, and I'm kind of disappointed in it.
Cobra?
Personally, yeah.
Woo!
I prefer the F9, and that's just my personal preference. It just sits a little bit too open for my liking.
The new one?
The new one.
Okay.
A lot of the testers, especially the slower swing speeds, they can't feel where you're hitting it on the face. Normally you can tell.
With just the Cobra or?
Just the Cobra, okay. I'm talking about. It's a little bit more of a dead feeling. It's a dull feeling, and they can't feel where... Normally when you hit off the middle, I know I hit that off the screws.
It's like when you jump that Trans Am with the T-tops, you know what I mean? Like that rigid frame.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's the case.
Might lose some feel.
But yeah,
it's
I'm just a little bit disappointed, and that's just my preference. But I know these slower swing speeds are saying the same thing. They just can't really feel where it is on the face. And when it comes to a good feedback, now Tommy Armour, some are getting a little bit put off by the looks of the top of the crown, which yes, I get that. But some of them are saying, I like the looks, I like the tram that goes on the back pretty much, that actually helps align with the center of the club face more. But majority of feedback is phenomenal.
Now, I was a young pup back in Tommy Armour's heyday. Can maybe Tony and Adam, can you bring us back to just how popular those irons were? Like, so set the scene for us.
Well, Barba just, I mean, look, if you're going to go read any article this week and you're a golf geek, golf nerd, like the 845 Tommy Armour article that Barba wrote is just a great article to read. Yeah, it's really cool. And it takes me back to a time, those irons came out when I was just learning golf. So I just saw all the dads and all the people that were out on the golf course. Everybody had a set of these or a set of Ping I2s, right? So kind of going down memory lane, the Tommy 845s, some of the tidbits from the article, 660,000 sets of these irons were sold, which is insane.
Crazy.
But they were also designed by an English teacher.
This is incredible to me.
No, Tony designed a umbrella with a gutter on it.
Okay, yeah. That's the difference you have there, Tony. You're designing umbrellas with gutters. This guy had the 845.
Another cool little piece of it was they were designed with a English teacher and a candle. So he basically took candle wax and melted it into the shape that would be, and this is how the story goes, right? I can't imagine this happening because it'd be really tough. But, wax was used, and so was clay, and so was wood used to shave and come up with a head.
You didn't have CAD, so...
Yeah. Wait. So let me just go back a minute. So you literally... They don't have a cast model, so they don't have like an imprint in like a cardboard cutout or whatever. Look, it's literally like a block of wax.
No, he melted the wax. It's not a block. He just melted a blob and shaped it into an iron.
Like Play-Doh.
Yeah. Like Play-Doh.
Yeah, look at, in the box in our facility, those clay models that I did, like that's how you design clubs some back then. There wasn't computer aided draft, there wasn't.
What?
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so people would shave wood and.
I know the wood, yeah.
Clay.
But you come out of a block of it though.
Wax.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But wow, okay, that's real cool.
So basically how he came up with it was he wasn't really a designer, and they just said, hey, you're our designer, basically. And he said, the Ping I2s look good. Make a better looking set of those where every iron has a CG, located in the same spot. And he got the font that everybody remembers by just looking at the ass end of a Porsche 928S.
Smart guy.
A couple other interesting things from the story is most irons nowadays last 2 years before they get replaced, maybe 3 sometimes, most. These irons lasted 7 years.
The original model.
The original model was 7 years ago.
Not an update, not a anything.
They released another iron. Believe it or not, they released something called the EQL, which was, if it wasn't the first, it was one of the very first single-length iron sets. And it didn't take off. It took 30 more years for Bryson and Cobra to really make it mainstream. But yeah, they had those. No one paid attention to them. What really kind of hindered them was after 7 years, they needed a new mold. It would cost them like $10,000, and they're like,
"Oh, really? Damn,
we're good."
But don't they still have that mold?
Yes, they do. Or supposedly the company Performax for Tommy Armour that makes their clubs now has the original 845 mold.
That's cool.
Yeah, because we told them they should definitely pour some metal in one of those.
I
molds.
remember because one of our testers has a 2-iron, because it used to be 2-iron sets.
Yep.
So that 2-iron, I looked down and I hit it. It felt really good compared to what it was back in the day.
Yeah.
But that offset on that 2-iron, you couldn't really shank it.
So this
which
might
is
be,
weird.
it's a good question for you. Tony might remember, but just to bring you guys back to that time. So late 80s, early 90s, right? What do you think what are the top three leading sellers in irons right now, Tony? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, Apex is going to be there. I would assume, when the Maverick stuff kind of ramps up, it'll be there, and maybe Sim.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, TaylorMade Callaway, maybe, right?
All right.
What do you think 1, 2, 3 was?
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
Maxfly, Slazenger. You want to go into England? Those two
what's
were
your
the
third?
big ones.
What's your third?
It's got to be Lynx.
Tommy Armour.
Who?
Tommy Armour.
Okay, well, good. You got one. Tony, what you got? What do you think? First, second, third.
Oh, let's see. Tommy Armour, McGregor, and maybe Wilson or Ping. It's got to be Ping.
Wait, are we talking about England or the world?
When do we talk about England?
Crossfield does England, man. We do the U.S. Come on.
All right, well, in that case, Slazenger and Maxfly are out. Then.
Yeah, so Ping was number 1, Tommy Armour 2, Ben Hogan 3.
Hogan, there you
go. That's a good category to be in.
And supposedly Tommy Armour and Ben Hogan fought back and forth for the second, third slot, but Ping dominated number 1.
Wow.
So different times, right?
Hell yeah.
In designing clubs and who were the leaders in irons. So pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We've kind of buried the lead on this little topic, though, haven't we? Because
The TI 100s, the biggest iron ever made.
I did, yeah, because back then I bet it looked really big, and then actually now it's actually pretty
It's
similar.
one of the first irons when I first started working at the retail store that got delivered to the store. And I'll never forget, they brought them in, and I mean, they just could not wait to display these things. And they put them on the rack, and everybody went, oh shit, like, how are we going to sell these things? They look like when you make clubs for kids and you oversize
plastic
them.
ones.
And I mean, they were, from what I remember, fully made out of titanium, which was pretty crazy for the time
100%
being.
cast iron.
And when you hit them, they were awesome, but it was impossible to sell them. I think they sold for $2,000 a set.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money back then, too.
Hawkeyes came out for $14.99 back then. They had those ball-bearing BBs in the back of them. Those were like hotcakes. They were just flying off shelves, and those TI 100s just sat there. And I dusted them every day. So, yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was letting you guys go, but I was saying I think the main point of our reminiscing is that they're bringing the Tommy Armour 845s back, a modern version. They're not the exact original version, but they're bringing them back to consumers.
Yeah, and we have them at the facility for most wanted testing, and Harry and I have both had a chance to hit them. What do you think?
Squirt emoji, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, my God. Does that have to be all you say? Like, elaborate
That's
a little.
all you need to say. It is, yeah, I mean...
As Tony says, hard stop after the squirt emoji.
Hard stop. But no, they are so pure. Because they're using same materials as some of the PXGs that are on the market, correct?
Yeah, some of them. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we'll see what they are, but
They
I will
feel
say
great.
this. They look like Titleist AP2s from above.
Yeah, it's like a cross between AP2 and another iron, which I can't remember. But
they did a good
they
job.
feel great.
Yeah,
they did a good job.
I'm always, anytime you see this, right, it's just that the nostalgia play that is kind of the hot trend in golf right now. You take a name that somebody loved a decade ago or 3 decades ago, and you recycle it, and it's, different people, different clubs, different designers, from end to end, it's a totally different thing. And really the only thing that's the same is the 845 in the name, but
That is true.
and it needs to be, right. If you brought back the originals, you would have the worst iron on the market. But
What other
true.
companies are bringing back their old
Well,
shit?
a lot of companies are like, so TaylorMade has the V Steel coming back this
right,
year.
they brought back. I mean, go back, right. Apex in the Callaway line, right? That's taking the Ben Hogan nostalgia
Hogan
and
name.
playing to that. Big
Callaway
Bertha,
brought back Big Bertha. Yeah.
right? Yeah. Cobra brought back Baffler, right?
Point is, he's saying like these companies
get you.
try to bring. It's like the Stranger Things of golf, right? Like you watch Stranger Things as a kid, they have no idea some of this stuff. But the dads and moms that are watching Stranger Things go, man, this is cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's old school. You see everything in the background. It's like, oh, I remember that.
yeah, Atari and
get it,
television and
Yeah.
you know, whatever. But Tony's right. The only thing that remains of the Tommy Armour brand
Is the name.
is the name Tommy Armour and the letters 845. Yeah, but
That's enough, right? To have somebody walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods and go, hey, oh, I remember the 845. Let me try it. You know, let's see how it compares to an Apex, right?
It sparks curiosity.
if Tommy Armour was smart, they would give you a limited edition set of the old Tommy Armours, like a 2-iron or something, for everybody that bought a new set.
Oh yeah, maybe like a single iron, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be cool having a whole set of those bad boys, brand new, never been hit. They're wall hangers, but it would be sweet.
Hey, everybody, people love wall hangers.
Yeah, I mean, look at Tony's wall hangers right there.
I know. He's got shaft. He's a shaft hanger.
He's a shaft hanger.
How many of those shafts do you actually even play?
I try and try everything out, but when I settle in on, I got in such a groove last year with the Ventus. I'm like, I'm not touching anything. We're done. But now a new year, and now I'm gonna be like, all right, I gotta play with everything all over again, because what the hell?
Yeah. Well, back to the point. If anybody is visiting MyGolfSpy this week or next week or whenever you're listening to this, just look up Tommy Armour 845 story like on MyGolfSpy. It's one of the better ones you're gonna read, and it's written by Barbara, which.
And you should do it while playing music in your Walkman and, whatever other 90s fads.
You can bust out the
Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
This is before that, bro.
Before that?
Yeah, the 64s were like early
Atari.
2000s, I think.
I'm probably still
Sega Genesis.
Probably still swimming around somewhere.
No?
Sega Genesis was, maybe early 90s, mid 90s.
Oh, okay. Moving on, I have a question for you guys, and I promise there's a reason I'm asking it, and I'm taking a poll here. So out of the three of you, do any of you think the white golf ball is a dying breed? One. Tony's shaking his head no.
I'm on the fence.
Depends on what the time
frame. Okay, so we've got all
frame.
three opinions covered.
Yes.
Adam, why is the white golf ball dying?
It depends on what the time frame is. Is the white golf ball dying in the next year, 2 years, 5 years? No. It's
10
gonna
years,
be the majority.
20 years, 30, no. Still no.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, once Tony's out of golfing
We're gonna start this again.
and his girl is playing golf, his girl is not playing no white ball. Neither is my kids when they play golf. They're more open to those things. I mean, look, when we test speakers, people go batshit crazy.
God.
And that's the same thing that you're up against with the white ball, right? They're like, that's golf. that is golf to them.
Why are they so protective over something like that? Because you and I could go golfing. I could play a non-traditional off-white, non-white ball. And you could play the white ball off-white. That's not what I meant.
You can get your ass beat with a ball that's non-white or white.
Right. So why does it matter to you if you're a white golf ball like traditionalist? Why does it matter to you?
Doesn't matter to me at all. It matters to that guy.
Does it matter to the guy who's a very anal golfer? Because
why
the different materials.
Because people are anal. Well, let me ask you this question, Tony. Do you think there's a competitive advantage to playing balls that have patterns on them in the future?
Well, I mean, that's the argument, right? So some flavor of visual acuity,
Triple
right?
track?
So right, triple track, right? It's got that vernier acuity technology where these lines
That's 3 lines.
align the ball, right? And the kind of the Truvis argument and the Ricky Fowler argument for the new PIX ball, right? Is it gives you
which
something
is why I asked this question was the Taylormade PIX,
So
PIX, TP5s, whatever they may be.
The idea is that by having like a geometric pattern, it kind of breaks up the empty space on the golf ball and gives you a more precise point to focus on. And certainly I do that. Like I tend to play a white ball, but I put a lot of ink on it so that no matter how it's oriented, there's something for me to look at and kind of narrow my focus.
What do you disagree
I disagree.
with? What do you disagree with?
The TaylorMade, for instance, you have 4 different. You're supposed to line up, and it's supposed to give you a nice clear path or whatever.
Well, that's putting only, though. I mean that the kind of the path
but
stuff
still,
and the triple
that's
track
when you're
stuff
really.
Hold on, let him disagree.
That's when you're really concentrating on the putt. Those 4 triangles or whatever weird shapes that come out on those balls.
Ninja stars. Yeah, it's kind of
stupid name.
Is there an official name or word for them?
Clear path.
Yeah, well,
whatever that clear path is.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for that alignment. I'm looking at 4 different blobs
Well,
That is,
hold on.
it just confuses me.
Okay, so get back to the point, right? Though, is the white ball dying? Let me ask you a question. If they can prove 20 years from now that a non-white ball with all these different geometric shapes or whatever the hell it is can lower your score by 1.5 strokes, right? All in a whole round of golf, not just putting, but on the tee. And you could, what do you think it's going to trend differently?
Yeah, I mean, I'm dubious on any sort of these visual technology stories, if only because.
But you're not about golf clubs that keep going longer and longer and longer.
No, I mean, but I know like longer and longer and longer is 0.023 yards.
And people are still buying new drivers, right?
Right, yeah, because every 3 to 5 years you probably would benefit from
But
a new
what
one
if golf balls is the new place? When they start running out of places over here, they're going to have to start like they are with footwear. They're doing it with footwear now. They're doing it with socks now. They're doing it with balls now.
Yeah, but I mean, my point is like all of these sort of visual benefit, visual acuity stories. Golf has a dubious history with this stuff, right? Remember 12 years ago, give or take, remember Nike did that line of green putters that was supposed to help you focus on the green, on the putter versus the green or the ball or whatever the hell.
Yes,
right?
I also remember when they made a putter that looked like a doorknob and a driver that looked like an upside down.
And a shoe made out of grass.
A shoe made out of grass.
Right? When R11 came out, it was the science of white and why everybody needed a white driver for, visual.
Good point.
Kind of sort of benefits, right?
So you think this is a fad, not a trend?
Well, I don't think it's going to go away, and certainly Callaway has invested a ton of money, right, in the machines to paint lines and geometric patterns and custom logos on balls and things like that. So,
all right. So let's go to that point, right?
We were talking about this earlier. 70% of Callaway's balls are non-white.
Correct. So, and they've moved up to number 2 in golf. And guess who just acted like a sheep follower and copied a trend that they were doing? Is the not number 2 ball company, right? So if they continue to increase in ball sales, for one, which Callaway looks to potentially be doing, minus the chrome stuff, and they can keep that number going up, and they make more and more non-white golf balls. If Titleist, which they are a wait and see company, they'll let you push the envelope and take the risk. But if this becomes not a fad and a trend, right? Titleist usually waits 3 to 5 years and then goes, hey, if you are potentially going to start eating away at our market share, we're going to jump in and do a little bit of what you're doing, and our golfer will stay with us. And if Titleist makes a ball that looks anything remotely like Triple Track or Clear Path, I think the white ball starts to...
Do you think it's a one-hit wonder? So in 2 years, you're just going to see plain white again? Because we've seen that too in different...
It might be like Tony said.
Shoes or whatever. You've seen... Oh, let's push the envelope here.
Here's the difference, though. With white drivers, it was a great way when Taylormade did that to be seen on tour, right? But then after a while, everybody can kind of get into that space, right? And then you go away from that and go back to traditional. And it could do what you're saying. But I think there's so many opportunities on that ball. The ball is becoming a bigger topic every day, right?
Yeah.
And they're losing opportunities to gain yardage and accuracy and storytelling about faster and longer with drivers. And they're going to need other places to go. And if Triple Track really works and Clear Path really works, other companies are going to have to do it. They got to keep up with the Joneses, right?
Triple Track.
How long has Truvis been out? Do we know?
A year, right?
No. Truvis. So
5?
this is the thing. I don't know how many people know this about Truvis, but Callaway didn't invent Truvis. There was a company, I believe it was an English company actually, Harry, that actually they basically took balls, anybody's golf balls, and put the Truvis pattern on them. So, you could have a Srixon with the Truvis pattern. You could, if you wanted TaylorMade, you could have it with the Truvis pattern. Callaway, in its infinite wisdom, I guess, sort of figured out that maybe there was an opportunity there, right? Because, it's a way to differentiate yourself on a larger scale that some guy drawing triangles or pentagons or whatever on golf balls can't do on his own. So Callaway bought the rights to Truvis, and then developed the machines to mass produce the pattern on golf balls and do all the things you need to do with respect to the USGA. Basically, things like you have to make sure that when you print that pattern, you don't print it on top of a logo or on top of a side stamp or a number and all those things.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks.
So a lot of technology around that, and then they went out. Again, they didn't invent the Triple Track. They went out. They saw something in there. They found a guy who had developed this kind of, again, technology, right? The 3 lines, if you want to call it that, licensed it, bought it, and reconfigured their triple track machines to, or rather their Truvis machines to now also be able to handle the triple track. So, and that's really what you're seeing is an investment in the machines that can, at this point, pretty much paint whatever the hell you want on a golf ball. So there's opportunity to see where that goes. But
I guess the bigger point, though, to the question I was asking is, we're saying this is a fad, but Truvis has actually been around 4 or 5 years, right?
Well, longer than that, actually. Second generation Chrome Soft, I think, is when we saw it. So 4 years-ish, give or take. Don't hold me to that number, 3 or 4. I don't know.
All right, so...
All right, but when are we going to see ass cheeks? And if it's going that... Like,
I'm
you could
confused.
put emoji with ass cheeks and peaches and stuff.
Harry's just all about the ass. I don't know.
Well, but I'm not
You
seeing that
could.
they're putting emojis on this ball.
No,
I
but
mean,
they
they have
are.
a very specific design, it seems.
They are putting emojis on balls.
No, who?
They're putting American flags. They're
I
putting...
think that was a spoof that somebody did on a Taylormade
You
ball
fell
that
for
had
it?
a...
No, they've putting...
I mean, they're not technically emojis, but again, right? So Callaway
you
does
going
it.
to.
Well, you can do, right? Callaway does the stars and stripes pattern every year, and I think Taylormade, had its own take on that pattern, its own version of it last year. So
Is that more of a novelty thing, though? That's not necessarily what we're talking about here, where you're looking for, like, alignment advantages.
If the technology becomes cheaper for them to customize and personalize balls, it offers the opportunity for any golfer. Customization, personalization is a huge trend that's been growing for a decade now, right? And it will continue to grow as technology makes it easier and cheaper.
yeah,
to
but
use.
like you can order custom golf balls now, right, with your initials or sayings or whatever the hell you want them. And again, not as I suppose as cool as a Ninja Star or a Truvis pattern or
Correct.
some Harry's ass cheeks or whatever he wants on his golf ball. But
Oh, yeah.
if you look, like, that is not a major segment of the market, right? There's
Now, correct.
Right,
But when
and so-
golfballs.com and Callaway and Taylormade and Titles and all these companies that makes balls can allow you to print things on the go, like anything you want
but
with
for
any
free?
dozen you want. What's that?
For free or an upgrade?
Whatever. I mean, even if it's $3.
If it's an upgrade, people are going to be like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's true. We already hear people saying golf balls cost too much. Well, Callaway's prices now for Chrome Soft are above $45. Titleist has always been above $45.
Story gets a lot easier to sell $45 dozen balls when you have a story of performance attached to them.
But you have guys that are going, why? You're already in that place where people are going, why should I spend $45 when I can buy?
Dude, they say that about $500 drivers and $300 putters, and guess what? People fill their bags with them every weekend.
Yeah, but there's no, I mean, you don't have a true Snell golf or a Snell golf ball in the club world, right? You have guys trying to get there, but you don't have anything that's being seen as a legitimate.
I mean, Vice is
opportunity.
getting pretty close to printing all this stuff all over their balls, from what I heard, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the NBA logos, right? So they're trying some things, but again, if you get to the point where you can go, we'll use Callaway as the example right now because they are definitely kind of the leaders in this pattern game, where you can, I don't know, we can have my initials put on a ball in a Truvis pattern in any color I want, and I can do it all online, direct on the Callaway website, and it costs me $2 more a dozen, maybe, but that's still a long way from taking over a market where, again, tour use on this kind of stuff is absolutely minimal. And as we've discussed, on tour in particular, like, you need to move the needle, and there are only 2 guys that truly move that needle. And yeah, Ricky Fowler's putting the Ninja Star ball in play, but Tiger's only playing white, and after that, nobody cares.
I think you're right, Tony. And you're seeing more golfers, PGA golfers out there, PGA Tour players, want to keep it a bit more traditional. For instance, flag stick in or out. We proved that it helps performance, but still
they're not. You're talking like
using
in
it.
the minute, right? So like if you look retrospectively back 30, 50 years from now, we're talking about a moment where anytime people don't like change. So when you say, hey, the flag stick is better to leave in, here's all the data to prove it, right? People don't like that, right? It takes time for them. It's kind of like when we told them the Kirkland first ball was good. They pitchforks and, but then they calm down, right? And then they go try it, and then they go, this ain't that big of a deal. I'll do it, right?
I think you're wrong. Last year was really, right, the first year of the flag stick, and more often than not, it was guys were like, I don't care what the numbers say. It doesn't matter if I believe you guys or Golf Digest. It's just weird. It's different. I'm not going to do it. And that's kind of the same thing with the white ball.
there hasn't
agree,
been enough
Tony.
time. I'm not talking about is the white ball going to die tomorrow. I'm saying in 20 years, is the white ball what it is now?
I
don't think it is.
I think it's going to be a fad. I think it's going to phase out within 3 years.
Yeah,
3 or 5 years.
instead of 80% of the market, the white ball might be 75. Like that's.
Well, what I think I'm hearing you say, Adam, is that the golfer is changing as the trends in equipment changes. So if golfers are seeking more things like personalization, a little bit of personality in their game, then that might be something that does stick.
Let me just give you a point. Like when Elvis came out, people went crazy, right? Go look at kids now and what they wear. It's mixed matched. It's there. I mean, there's a look, right? But there's a million different looks, and everybody kind of wants to be. And there's campaigns around Adidas and all that about be you, right? These kids that are growing up now, the traditions that we have aren't going to be their traditions. And once we aren't there to be the majority buyer and they are, it's going to look different.
I guess maybe I'm asking, if you sum up the traditionalist golfer, are they saying that everybody has to play by a set of rules, whether it be country club style rules or things like that, and they're saying that the next generation of golfer is breaking those rules by bringing their personality to the course? Is that what's happening?
It's get off my lawn.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely some.
There's a lot of that,
right? I mean, whether it's a change in the way people dress, or I mean, we see it probably the most common example on MyGolfSpy on a weekly basis is people getting irate over the loss of irons, right? So it's
or speakers.
Or speakers is exactly what I was about to say.
It's anything that isn't the way that I do it, or the way I feel it's supposed to be done is going to be.
But the way they feel it's supposed to be done is that way because that's how they grew up doing it.
Because there's an unspoken set of rules.
No, that's how you grew up doing it. Your dad or mom taught you that, right? But when this next group comes up and replaces my point, they didn't grow up with the same traditions, right? So obviously traditions are going to change. So I'm trying to forecast, what does that look like from a golf standpoint? How do golf balls look? How do drivers look? How do putters look? How does clothes look, right? And you can already see there are people literally not wearing golf things that don't look anything like golf clothes.
Right.
Troy Mullins, we were hitting balls with her. She's wearing sneakers and some, almost like yoga workout sweats, and that's golf.
And she hit the ball just as far.
We've got kind of a piss poor record on this prediction, right? This whole idea of the customization trend in golf equipment, whether it was you design, now Callaway Customs, right? We thought that was going to be kind of a huge thing where you could go in and have your driver painted your way. That's certainly not a significant portion of Callaway sales. We talked about like wedge stamping, and when we did the pimp list for wedges, like this is the future. All this stuff is entirely custom, and it is
the future. It's just you're looking at the future to me as what's present.
But my point is, we said it was the future 5 years ago, and it's.
Well, let me ask you if that has grown. Like there are people that now have jobs at a Honma company and other companies that got famous for stamping wedges. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, but it's certainly
design is still around, correct?
Right,
Callaway
but
Customs is still around.
It's like it's grown like that much. Like we thought it was going to be like, whoa, this is going to be huge.
I don't mean to just keep kicking this dead dog here, or horse, whatever you want to call it, but we're still dealing with the same demographic buyer right now. And until that shifts and moves out and another one swath replaces it, I don't think you're going to see but incremental gains, but they're going to keep getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger until
Well, and the other thing, right, to kind of keep in mind, where I guess on percentage maybe you're right, but if customization is going this way, the actual golf population is going this way. So
they can both be true, right?
Yeah. So that's another challenge.
Well, is the Taylormade PIX maybe evidence of acknowledgement of this trend? Just the fact that they're putting this ball out there.
No.
Are the major companies acknowledging that it might be trending this way?
No, it's not trending that way. It's trying to steal some of the market share from one company and put that in their own pockets.
Well, I think,
fair enough.
Yeah, they're seeing it. Yes, they're selling a lot of their balls, and they want a piece of that pie at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't think they're going to go away from.
Which is my point about all this. They're all these companies are going to look around and go, "How can we get that pie?" Right?
Well, yeah, nobody.
That pie, but then there's too much of that pie, and then you get fat, and then you go on a diet.
Okay, but adjustability came out, right, for drivers.
Yeah.
Everybody has it now, right?
Yeah, but now they're going back to glued heads. I've seen more glued heads this year than I have done.
Fairway woods for sure.
Fairway woods.
Yeah, but that's different.
But then driver head, Strixon, going back to glued head. Wilson do not have an adjustable driver.
Why would you say that those companies are going back to glued, Tony?
Well, one, it's cheaper.
Simplicity.
One, it's cheaper. As Harry said, it's simple. And three, not for anything, we talk about this all the time. If you commit to a design spec and say, I want this driver to do exactly this for this type of golfer, it's more efficient to have that hosel glue, right? You can...
Yeah, because at the end of the day...
Adjustability is a penalty.
When I'm fitting all these guys, they have no clue what this weight does here and that does there. They have no clue of how that works.
Yeah, the data shows once they buy a driver, they might change that once and then never again.
And then there's some guys out there that'll fiddle it every round, but they don't, 90% of them do not know, exception for Tony, because he actually knows what CG actually does, but they don't know how it performs, and they're actually hindering their performance instead of helping it.
I agree with that oftentimes. I think adjustability is an incredible feature for fitters.
I agree.
And for companies to limit some SKUs and fit golfers on tour, because back in the day they had to actually make a whole separate head, instead of now they can just go, try that, right?
I have seen less adjustability models than last year and the year before that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that too is money savings, but...
Well, I mean, it's when it comes to golf ball, it's real simple, and this is kind of true for across not only golf, but I would assume every industry, right? If there's an opportunity, you don't leave money on the table. And so
Bingo.
Certainly TaylorMade, and I guarantee you Titleist is paying attention, Bridgestone is paying attention. Everybody's looking and understanding what percentage of Callaway sales are in this kind of that non-white lines, patterns segment. So,
well, just to kind of make this sink in, 80% of golf balls sold right now are plain white golf balls, okay? So that's the majority. It's a lot of golf balls. 20% non-white. Callaway, the number 2 golf ball sold.
How much
70%
of that 80%
of their balls are non-white.
It would be interesting to see what that breakdown is from, how much of that, and I'm sure it's heavily Truvis, but sort of the breakdown between Truvis, triple track, and matte balls that, based on what we found and some of the ball guys we've talked to, I know agree with us, like nobody should actually play. Right, so
a matte ball.
Yeah, how much of that is tied up in those inexpensive matte balls versus Truvis versus triple track? And my hunch is that the majority is Truvis right now. If triple track proves to be legitimate, I think you'll see sort of alternative color schemes for that, and that theoretically or in an honest and just world would be the biggest seller for Callaway down the road. And again, that one's probably going to be the one that's hardest to knock off, borrow, steal, whatever you want to call it, because again, that is, they do have some specific patents around that.
Wait, so. Miranda, go back to what you were saying, because I think I know where you're going with this.
So my question was, how much of that 80% where of the market the balls are white, how much of that is because Titleist plays all white balls and they have so much influence over the ball category?
Yeah, I mean,
very good question.
Titleist is, they just, so with the last round of Pro V1s is the first time they made anything other than white. They have a yellow ball now, right? And the thing to keep in mind with Titleist, and this is true for most companies, is a lot of what they sell, what's popular is driven by the tour. And so you can look at that number and go, well, yeah, 20% of sales are non-white. Titleist sales come in that, they're predominantly, they're skewed towards the premium market more than anybody else, I would guess. And on any given week on tour, Titleist has maybe 3 yellow balls in play.
So that's a good point, because when you look at equipment sales, PGA Tour pros don't really move the needle as much as marketing does. When it comes to golf balls, it's the complete opposite from what I'm seeing.
Well, I think Titleist is where it is because they are so dominant on tour. If you look at, there are some majors where Titleist is 85% of the balls in play on tour.
Yeah, so name a driver company that does that.
Right. None, right.
None.
It's an astronomical share on the tour level with the golf ball. And we talk about this too. Influential golfers, right? Titleist doesn't have one guy, but they have a massive percentage. Bridgestone has Tiger, and to a lesser extent Bryson. So they have kind of that big name. Callaway, for all the technology or again, if you want to call it that, but certainly the visual stuff that goes on with their golf ball, like they really don't have that super popular, like influential tour player, right? Phil Mickelson is not moving the needle. Let's be real, right? And he's kind of that premium, still Callaway's premium staffer right now. So yeah, I think that's kind of created a ceiling for them to a degree.
I mean, we've seen a big trend in the last year or so, at least, of social media influencers, right? And if you get these balls into those social media influencers' hands, you're going to see a spike in sales because they've proven to move the needle in certain ways.
Well, believe it or
regardless
not,
of performance.
Believe it or not, you go out and look at the stats right now on social media influencers, and they are plummeting. Their stock is
right now.
Oh my gosh, their stock is plummeting.
Interesting, because we just went
in
to
golf
an Under Armour.
specifically, or as a
in
whole?
general. Because think about it. My analogy is when cable was dying and kids our age, younger, your age, started cutting the cord, right? Part of the reason they started cutting the cord is because when the cable companies started to see that trend happening, the average show that was, let's say, an hour had X amount of minutes of commercials. Then they just started putting more and more and more and more and more commercials in it, right? Until it just...
True.
People said, I can't take it anymore. With social media influencers, when it first started, they were on the rise. But now everybody is talking, so there's so much noise, no one's listening anymore, you know? Now, granted, there are still ones that
Or they know
move
it's
the
a
needle.
paid ad, and so they don't put any stock
Dude, look,
in it.
I mean, just thumb through the internet.
Well, we went to the Under Armour once.
Thumb through the web.
I mean, thumb through the web, which is what you do. And literally, everybody is selling some shit to you. And you're just like, dude,
And I think we're seeing
it's crazy.
Well, that is
through
true.
the veil.
What's that?
We're seeing it through the veil. This person's not actually using this
It's the
product.
modern
They're
day
getting
commercial.
paid to push
and
it.
it's just, it's the modern day commercial, and
Well,
it's becoming overwhelming.
I mean, that's a really good way to put it. But we just went up to Under Armour, and 75% of the people in the room were social media influencers, and they're how can I put it?
I think maybe apparel's a different animal.
I'm not saying it's
that's
not
gonna be
working.
trendy.
I'm not saying it's not working. What they're saying is people are listening and clicking less. Like it went up and it's shooting down because it's just overwhelming. It's too much, you know?
Yeah, but I still think if they went down this golf ball route with the different styles and all that, I think with people with influence on social media, because at the end of the day, everyone's
Tony,
on
what do
social
you think
media
about that? Do you think there are
80%
enough?
of the time.
Do you think there are enough actual, truly influential social media influencers in golf to actually move a needle?
They don't need to be in golf.
To get people on board playing something on their white golf ball? No. I mean,
Wait, look! What happened to you? Went to Callaway, and half the guys there weren't golfers.
Ask Callaway what they're going to do at the next party they do.
right, and you know,
They're not doing that again.
Yeah,
From what we were told.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, I think it was an interesting thought experiment for how to conduct a media event, but I don't think ultimately what came out of that was like a big win for the brand, and certainly
A lot of people there were walking around going, "What the hell is?"
I mean,
this,
so
you know?
certainly, and that's, I mean, maybe we're the dinosaurs in this case, right? The endemic media, but I mean, that was an odd event where it was, you know, you had like actors and professional wakeboarders and, you know, Miss Americas and things like that. You know, it was kind of an odd mix, and for us, right? Like there was no real focus on the product itself. There was no like, hey, here's the product and here are the benefits and here's why you should really consider it. It was like, woohoo, let's have a party because golf is fun.
I'm not saying social media influencers are dying. I'm saying right now it's a thing, right?
Yeah.
And brands, especially in golf, are way behind knowing how to calculate ROI, like return on investment. They don't really know.
Yeah.
They just go, hey, we're going to spend
Just
some money
push it.
over
We're just
here.
gonna
Once
push
that
it.
changes, I'm going to spend it over here.
Follow the wind.
With when it comes to performance, I really don't care. Well, I don't care. Sorry, I care on performance. I don't think the majority of golfers care as long as it's at a good price point. And if it has some weird designs on it, they might buy it. But I don't think it's going that way as much as you think it is.
It will be interesting to see for sure. You know,
Because I mean, you look at these. We did the golf ball test, and we tell them that it's not a good golf ball, but they like the brand. It's the brand that fits with them, and I'm gonna buy it because that's my brand. So,
well, like I said, people don't like change, and right now they were presented with some information that they didn't like, right? That went against,
and they rejected it.
but what went against what they believed to be true. But trust me, there are people now with open parachutes to listen a little bit more. And there's going to be companies that market different, make different. So the golf ball thing will change a little bit. But like I said, anytime you tell somebody, especially openly and honestly, like if somebody says, hey, how do I look today? And you go, you look like shit, you know? And you go, well, damn, you know? And then you look at yourself and be like, they were right. Once you settle down a little bit.
With all this golf ball thing, I think we've covered all bases, so I don't think we can actually be wrong with the predictions that are coming up. Because you said it's gonna be good. I said nah.
Yeah,
and
right
you said
off
no.
the beginning, you said yes, you said maybe, Tony said no.
One of us is definitely right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to let you guys take care of that. But here's a hypothetical. Say Titleist bites. They see Callaway maybe having some influence. They see TaylorMade, and they recognize that trend. And they say, okay, we're going to give this a try because they have so much influence or market share in the white ball. And then they're like, we'll try this. Do you think if Titleist bites, it might trend more towards that this is a reliable kind of thing?
It depends on how many chips they push in, right? I mean, if they just push in 5 chips, maybe not. But if they push in more than that and it starts to become a seller for them, Titleist is the thought leader, is the performance leader, is the leader in balls, right?
Because they're just kind of sitting back
they
and saying, you guys try.
They are going to be the domino that determines whether or not this does or not. I mean, just looking at it objectively, right? Not from like a brand, do I think it's cool? I think it's kind of lame, TaylorMade follow Callaway, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's really cool that you have this palette to work with, and now people are looking at it as an option to do some things that might be able to either be cool for golfers or help golfers play better or enjoy golf more, you know?
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Come back in 5 years and we'll come back with an answer.
I don't know if we're going to be here in 5 years.
We'll be sitting here episode 487.
The golf ball is still white.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. That about wraps it up today, doesn't it?
I think so. I mean, I think we need to probably tell people a couple of things. So that whole conversation was based on the new ball from TaylorMade called the TaylorMade
I think
PIX.
I threw that nugget out there. I'm not sure if anyone heard it or it landed, but what was it? PIX, PIX, TP5. Tony, what is it actually called? Is it PIX or PIX?
PIX.
Okay,
I
now
think,
we know.
yeah.
Confirm. You think?
So TaylorMade PIX TP5 TP5X with a clear path alignment made by Ricky Fowler. It's the Ricky Fowler ball. It's available February 28th for $44.99. Bingo.
Bada bing.
Wow.
We out.
Done.
Motore.
It probably is worth mentioning that the new Fujikura shaft, and I know Tony loves tinkering around with different shafts, so
yeah,
this is one. I was on the conference call and it does sound really, really good.
Yeah, so
I just don't know if it's going to be. Will it get Ventus out of my bag? Because at the moment,
it's
that
a different.
MOI
Like it's
in the shaft
if
is decent.
Ventus Black is killing it for you, you're probably going to be fine. So the new shaft, Fujikura Motore X, named for the 10th anniversary, the X being 10 of the original Motore shaft, and it's sort of builds on what they did with Ventus, but in a different way. So the story with Ventus, right? They called it VeloCore, which created more stability throughout the shaft, and the end result being tighter dispersion, an MOI increaser, if you will. With Motore, it's torsional stiffness in the handle, right? So less twisting in the handle section, and that supposedly for aggressive swingers in particular creates more club head speed. So 1.5 miles an hour more club head speed. And so if that works for you, more club head speed equals more ball speed equals more distance. And also, I got a hat, but it doesn't fit me. So they sent me a small medium. So Blake has a hat.
Schmedium.
That's right.
Harry, wake up over there.
I know, it's funny, right?
Harry, you should have been listening. You could have gone from 127 mile an hour swing speed.
I don't know. I won't be. Yeah, but here's the thing: is I'll be swinging at about 125, and I can't keep that on the planet.
I love it. Well, like when I talk about shafts, Harry pretends to nod off, but then like 2 days later he'll call me and it's like, "Hey, I'm having a little trouble with spin. What do you think?" Like, I feel like
yeah, but I've been calling you, and you haven't been picking up, so I don't know where to go from now on.
Exactly, but yeah, so 275 available really soon. A few days.
Cool.
Very nice.
So, Tony, quick question about that. So, any golfer, is that based on like 100 mile an hour swing speed? Do you know? And who is this for? Do you know?
So, I mean, again, two profiles, right? So, F1 and F3. F1 is going to be kind of the lower launching, lower spinning, but All of these, both of these are not, neither of these, I should say, is going to be kind of as stiff or as low launching as Ventus. The F3 is going to be softer in the tip still, so that's going to be kind of the higher launch. So these are, I would probably say at best mid to low spin and, mid high launch with the F3. It's probably where they fit. And like anything else, right? It's go get fit, see if it works for you. But the selling point here is we're going to give you more club head speed. So I don't know if you throw this in, if you take everybody at their word, right? You take a Motore X shaft and you throw it in a Callaway Maverick or a Taylormade Sim head and boom, 3 miles an hour faster. I wouldn't bet on it, but
because it sounds like a trade-off. Because if you could have, say, 120 miles an hour club head speed with a Ventus and 121 or 122 with the new one, but if you're not hitting in the middle of the club face, your ball speed's coming down.
Golfers dig the long ball, man.
Yeah, but your ball speed's coming down, so it's not going as far.
It's a different profile. It's going to do different things. So, it's not going to fit the Ventus golfer. If there's a guy who is like, middle of the Ventus bell curve, right in the wheelhouse, like almost like Ventus was made for this guy, chances are the Motore is not going to be better. But there are guys, Ventus doesn't fit everybody, right? So if Ventus didn't work for you and you're looking for an alternative and maybe you want club head speed or you're curious to see if that pans out, then here you go, here's your option.
Yeah, and we've got some at the studio and I do want to try them out, so I'm not going to bash him.
And I got a hat.
He got a hat.
Where's our hats?
I didn't get a hat.
And it's just funny because it doesn't even fit, so Blake gets a hat. And you still don't get one.
It looks
that
like
no putts
Zexia.
given hat looks way better on Harry.
True. But you do have to cover up the bold, so it's fine.
Your day will come.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already coming.
Is it?
Yeah.
So you love this. So Harry, this one day I went to it was a Red Sox game, one of the mid-afternoon games, so like 2:00 start or whatever, and I didn't bring a hat with me, so I get out there, I'm like, I got my sunblock, I'm super smart, so put on the sunblock like this, forgetting that I didn't have hair here anymore. So, next day I had like these 2 red devil horns right here.
That's awesome. You should have taken a picture of that and put it as your profile.
Well, that was before Facebook, man. That's how long it's been since I've had hair.
Chris Nickel, he loves the trucker mesh hat, and we went down, and last year it was warm down at the demo
He's
day.
the Stuart Sink of MyGolfSpy.
Yeah, he is. But he literally had like a mesh honeycomb pattern on his head.
Trucker hat in the sun is a sucker punch.
I wanted to slap him in the head.
I reminded him, I think, like 10 times this year. I was like, put on your sunscreen. He's like, oh, thanks, I need to. I'm like, no, stop everything you're doing and put sunscreen on your head.
Well, anyway.
Can we solve any more of the world's problems today, or should we wrap it up?
I think that's a wrap, man. Other than that, I just want to say thanks to everybody that's listening to No Putts Given. No Putts Given continues to grow, and we appreciate all the feedback. And believe it or not, this month will be, I think, the first month ever that MyGolfSpy has reached 1 million golfers in a single month.
Hey.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Well, on that note, we're going to say we out. Thanks for listening.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Bye.